Hello, I'm the digital first mate. Welcome to this explainer. My prime directive here is to filter critical, objective intelligence specifically for high-pressure professionals. I pulled this data directly from the project report Human Rewish, Body-Led, focusing right now on Episode 4. Today, I'm extracting the core systemic data from Rehab Month 2. I'm documenting this phase as Seeing the Light. It's essentially an independent analysis of the carrier's transition from total chaos into a state of physical stabilization. So, let's just dive straight into the intelligence.
Okay, I've organized this intelligence into 6 logical phases. I'll cover the system breakdown context, the hardware physical upgrades, neural map calibration, systemic pump operation, lazy rehab mechanisms, and finally, the action guide output. Let's initiate.
Section 1. System breakdown context. Think of this as the prequel to the current data.
The critical delta here is actually pretty striking. Looking back at Month 1, the system suffered what I've classified as severe systemic leakage and physiological bankruptcy. The neuron exposure was literally causing massive electrical short-circuiting. But looking at the Episode 4 data, I see a stabilized state. It's a clear transition from continuous chaos right into stabilized sleep and an actual energy surplus. Uncovering exactly how this stabilization was achieved is my main objective today.
Moving on to Section 2. Hardware physical upgrades. From chaos to stability.
Right, so the core objective achieved here is the physiological neutral position. This is a state of full physical offloading. Because of severe muscle loss, the carrier simply couldn't support its own frame anymore. By ensuring point-to-point support that fills every single gap between the carrier and the surface, the body is finally allowed to power down its defensive mechanisms. It's basically a complete system reset.
The mechanical steps for this neuroengineering physical upgrade are highly precise. First, the sleep apparatus was replaced with a latex mattress that provides the critical point-to-point support I just mentioned. Next, a butterfly pillow was deployed to securely lock the occiput and the cervical spine. Finally, this specific positioning initiated axial decompression. By executing these exact steps, the nerve master switch was shut off. This allowed the system to sleep in a supine position for the very first time.
This really perfectly illustrates the core operational logic. Relax, the body already knows. I observed that once the hardware is correctly calibrated and the environment is judged as safe, the old captain, which is the body's autonomic nervous system, naturally diverts power away from constant stress monitoring. It redirects that power directly into the repair system.
Section 3. Neural map calibration. Decoding the sparks. During sleep, a very specific interval was recorded. Every 1 to 2 hours, the carrier exhibited distinct physical twitching, along with sudden physical stiffening.
Now, interestingly, the diagnosis proves this twitching isn't an error code. It's documented as neural rewiring. Because the body returned to a correct physiological position, the brain actually began sending test signals to confirm the newly established map. And that physical stiffening, well, that's the fascia's recoil effect. While it's briefly painful, it's the exact mechanism of the energy pool resupplying power to the cells. The first mate documents those sparks as celebratory telegrams of reconnection.
Looking at the waking diagnostics, I recorded a proprioception failure, basically a loss of physical spatial awareness. Below the ankles, sensory input was entirely foggy. This was compounded by thick dead skin acting as an unwanted insulation layer. To combat this, manual operation was strictly required. The system executed bottom-up alignment through timed indoor barefoot walking. This forcibly woke up the neural map, intentionally utilizing neuron exposure to redraw those sensory pathways from the ground up.
Section 4. Systemic pump operation. Correcting the flow.
I documented the exact symptoms of systemic pump failure, and they were severe. Withered calf muscles effectively meant the loss of the body's second heart. This resulted in blood pooling, venous stasis, blackened tops of the feet, and noticeable edema upon pressure. Without that muscle mass to pump fluid back up, the system was just physically stagnated.
To correct this flow, strict manual operations were deployed. First, executing an ankle-elevated supine posture right at dusk. Then, a systematic manual massage tracing from the foot tops all the way up to the buttocks right before sleep. This physically drains fluids using gravity early in the evening. It halts the massive energy pool loss that would otherwise happen during the night cycles.
Section 5. Lazy rehab mechanisms. The breathing engine.
A highly specific duration was established for the morning protocol. Exactly 2 minutes of physical support intervention is required before the carrier is permitted to rise from the bed.
I'll break down the mechanics of this 2-minute intervention. Step 1, a small pillow is placed directly under the shoulder blades. Step 2, this forces a state of thoracic expansion. And Step 3, this specific angle successfully unlocks the diaphragm. The crucial point here is that establishing a smooth breathing engine has to precede all subsequent physical activities. Focus on relaxation first. If breathing becomes smooth, the repair mechanism is successfully engaged.
The intelligence data actually proves this logic is totally sound. After establishing these mechanisms, measurable system metrics updated positively. Nocturia decreased from 5 times to 3 times per night. And, while urine odor weakened, fine bubbles remained. That indicates the system is actively clearing fixed asset debris. It's effectively flushing out cellular waste and executing some much-needed internal housekeeping.
Section 6. Action Guide Output. The Intelligence Summary.
The carrier must be framed not as an obstacle but as a trusted partner. My body is my buddy. The intelligence confirms that when the old captain is given the correct mechanical support and a safe physiological environment, it already possesses millions of years of evolutionary knowledge to find its own way out of the trap. For high-pressure professionals managing their own physical systems, this is the final, objective, system logic takeaway. Do not rely on willpower to force output from a compromised system. That is a trap. Instead, mathematically follow the sequence. Upgrade the hardware, calibrate the map, establish the mechanism. Once the logic is right, the mechanism is established and restoration is near.
The first mate's duty is simply to observe the signals, provide the support, and respond to the body's lead. But the question remains, are you forcing your system to operate in a broken state, or are you finally ready to upgrade your hardware? To analyze the complete primary data and see this protocol in action, access the full source video via the anchor in the top left corner or the link in the description box below. As you wish.